Okay, we are going to start with the chapter 10. You can open your books, and this chapter is about light. And in this chapter, we're going to talk about the reflection, as well as the dispersion of light. And before moving further in detail, we are going to learn first what is the nature of light. And depending upon the nature of light, from where the light comes from, we need to understand the basic difference between the luminous and the non-luminous objects. So as you can see in the name, that is, you can see that is prominent from its statement, as well as that the luminous objects are those objects that have their own light, and the non-luminous objects, they don't have their own light, they don't produce their own light. They might appear bright in front of you, but they don't have their own light, so that's what they call non-luminous objects. And you can mark the definition from here, as well as that's what the definition of the light is: a form of energy. So it is again the form of energy that can be detected by our eyes. So this is the sensory organ that is used to detect it, and from where it comes from, it is coming from the luminous objects that are all around you. And one of the main source of light on the earth is are the stars, and more specifically, which star that is main source of light on the planet earth? It's sun. And however, when we talk about the planets, the earth, they might look blue, green, or different other colors, but they actually are non-luminous objects because they are just reflecting the light of the sun. They're non-luminous, they don't carry their own light. So that's the difference between luminous and non-luminous objects. There's another thing, for example, in your room around you, you can see different colors in front of you, but and from different objects might look very bright in front of you, but their color are not coming from themselves, they are reflecting the color from the light source. And what could be a light source? The light source might be an electric bulb in your room. So that's what they can ask you the question, or for multiple examples in the luminous and non-luminous objects. Another thing, some of the examples they have mentioned here, you can see here, as they have mentioned the mirror here. So mirror is, no doubt, it looks very bright in front of you, but it's actually reflecting the light. It's not luminous, so it's non-luminous object. So that's a non-luminous object. And then there's another example in front of you is the jellyfish, that you can see. The jellyfish, it produces its own light. And just because it is producing its own light, the light can be dim, but it's again bright, and its source is not from another luminous source. It's not reflecting that light, it's producing its own light. Then we can say the jellyfish is also a luminous object. I think we need to admit another student. Bilal, I can see you have raised your hand, but just let me just finish, and then I will do the question answer session later. Okay, let's move forward now, and then, okay, and that's fine, then I have admitted him. Next, let's talk about the question that how does the light travel? As you are fully aware that we did the question, the chapter sound, and in chapter sound we did some experiments relevant to the sound, that how does it travel, and we were at the conclusion that for sound waves to travel, they need a certain medium. But I want you to now I want to ask a question: does this light also need a certain medium? No. Who is going to explain why it doesn't need any medium? Or you, if you can't explain, you can just give me an example of this. That's very good answer. That's it. Just because the light is coming to you, passing through the vacuum, the space, it means that it doesn't need any medium. And when we talk about the sound, it doesn't reach our planet passing through the vacuum. That's why it's really quiet there. So that's what they're going to explain here. And they said we can see the stars because we can see the star. They're very distant from the earth, but we can still see them just because the light has been traveling through the outer space, and then it is reaching, passing through the atmosphere, and then reaching into our eyes. So this shows that sound, just like you can say, it's very different from the sound. It doesn't need any certain medium, and it can pass through the space. That much of it is certainly the vacuum. And we are also aware that no doubt the space is the vacuum, but the atmosphere of Earth is not a vacuum. It is made up of air, so it can pass through the medium as well as. So it can. So this example has shown us that it can pass through the vacuum and it can pass through the medium like air as well as. So if here is the question that they are asking you: can light travels through the liquids such as water and solids such as glass? How can you find out? So you can just because we can observe that in the form of experiment that they have mentioned here, as well as this is a light sprint in front of you that have been ignited under water, and you can see the light is coming outside passing from the glass as well as that's a solid. But there is a difference between the types of solid through which the light can pass. There are some of the materials through which light can pass. Some of them are opaque, and some of them are translucent, some of them are transparent. We will talk about them in detail in the next point. Then let's talk about the speed of light now. So I think I took this cam scan of the chapter. So you can open your book in front of you if this page is not clear to you. So basically, we are now going to talk about the speed of light, and we are already aware that speed of light is very high, and you can say it travels at a very high speed. Just because when you enter the room and when you just switch on your light, it instantly brighten up your room. It doesn't take any delay, and that's a very simple example. You can see the example of lightning on the sky when there is a thunderstorm. And in that thunderstorm, usually you always see the light first and you will hear the sound later. So it means that light travels at a faster speed as compared to the sound. This is what they are explaining here. So they have mentioned, this is very important information. You need to highlight it in your books as well as the speed of light in vacuum is highest. As and vacuum, it's almost 300 millions meter per second. So this is the numerical figure that you need to learn. And when we compare it with the average speed of the Olympic sprinter, that's just Olympic sprinter is a person that runs in the races in the Olympics, and its speed is 100-meter race and is 10 meter per second. And when we compare the both of these vectors, that's very bigger. You can say value for the speed of light. From that we can conclude that it is a very high speed, and because of that it can reach from the space, passing through the space, then atmosphere of the earth at a very high speed. Then they're going to give you the example. What they have mentioned here, they could have asked you to compare the speed of light and the speed of sound, and from that the classical example that you can give is the thunderstorm. As you can see, whenever there is a thunderstorm, you would see the lightning first and you would hear the sound later, and they can ask you the explanation for that, and the explanation is given in the very next paragraph. They have mentioned the light speed at much faster speed than sound, and this is the reason it reached the earth and in your eyes first, and the sound came later, and that's the phenomena behind it. And light also travels at different speeds in the different media, but it travels, and whenever we talk about the sequence of the speed, then keep in mind that it travels faster in air than water or glass, and then as compared to air, its speed would be higher in the case of vacuum. So you can use or write down this sequence as well as for the speed in different medium. So this is like this, water or glass. So highest speed of the light will be in the vacuum. So in the science bite, they have given you some of the approximate speeds in meter per second, so for you to have an estimate that how faster the speed travels. And here you can see some of the examples here, as well as the Olympic sprinter that we have mentioned. The Earth orbits it's also less than that of the speed of Earth in the orbit is also less than that of speed of light, and they have also mentioned surprisingly the speed of the crawling of snail. We can't even compare that. Let's talk about the next part now. And I want you to answer me for this. Please be very attentive. They have given you the question. They have mentioned the sunlight travels about 150 million kilometers from the sun to the earth. And they're asking you, how long does it take for a light from the sun to reach the earth? I want you to write a formula in your book so that you can apply it later, and this is your task for you to do. I am going to give you the formula. As for in order to find the speed, you can divide the distance by the time. So distance when divided by time, it gives you the speed basically. If they can ask you the time, then you can alter the formula and distance can be divided by the speed, and for that you can use this abbreviation as well as this is speed. And in order to show the speed, we use the small v. And when they can ask you by using this formula, they can ask you to drive the speed, they can ask you to find the time, they can ask you to find the distance. And some of the in this specific example, they're asking you, they have mentioned the speed. So the v is mentioned for the sunlight, and travels about, no, that's the distance. So this is the distance. Speed you have already aware, that's 300 millions. And they're asking you for the time. So for time, you would use the formula distance over time, and you would just divide it with the speed of light, and you would find the time it takes to obviously reach the earth. Similar example that have been mentioned here. In this, they have mentioned, they're asking you 1 light year is the distance that travels in the year, and the nearest star to the earth other than the sun is 4.2 light years away. So that's basically the distance, and by using this I want you to calculate these two, and I would ask you in the next class as well as and you can also send me the screenshot, or you can just take a picture of after solving these two problems. Let's move forward. I have given you the formula, you can just apply it. If there is any problem, you can ask me. Next part, they are asking you about how does light travel. We did the discussion that it travels at a very high speed. So let's look at the further detail that in which form it actually travels. So basically, light travels in a straight line and in the same medium. When it is in the same medium, when it changes the medium, then obviously the direction changes. And for that, they have given you the experimental demonstration, as well as you can see here, they have set up certain cardboards, and from these cardboards, they have pinched some holes here, and they have this light source here from where the light is coming. So this is a luminous object from where light is coming, and obviously, as we have mentioned, it travels in a straight line. So they have mentioned only one ray. There are multiple rays all around the direction, but we are counting on one of these rays. So as they have mentioned, the holes in the cardboards are aligned in a straight line. So if just because there are multiple holes present in the cardboards that are given in front of each other, then if light passes from all of these holes and then reach the eye, it means that it can pass in a straight line. And you can see in the case they have mentioned the light from the bulb travels straight lines through the holes, and we will able to see the light from the obviously from this direction. So this experimental demonstration shows that light does travel in a straight line. So from where there's some technical terms that you need to learn. So basically, the path along which the light travels is called a ray. So they can ask you what is ray. They could ask you in the form of MCQ. So you should know that it's called ray when its path is actually called ray, in which it travels in a straight line. And in order to represent these straight lines, we use certain arrows, and the arrowhead is always in that direction. Can you see this? It is in the direction from where it is coming and then moving forward. So it is coming from light source to this direction. So arrowhead are from in this direction. This is also very important. And there are certain forms of light that can originate from a certain light source. These are parallel beams, divergent beams, and convergent beams. So they for you to, they can ask you to identify the light coming from a different source, that you can see that when they are parallel to each other, then you can cause these are parallel beams of light, as you can see. And when they are obviously coming from a common point and they are diverging uh, uh, later in the space, then you can see these are divergent beam of light. And when they are obviously being concentrated at one point, or not now they are at one point, but at the end of this they would meet at one point, that now you could call this a convergent beam of light. So this is different forms of you can say different ways of light, that depends upon the source of light from where it is coming. As I have already mentioned that we did mention that light can passes from all mediums and even from the vacuum, but for solids, for objects, we need to understand there are different types of material as well as. So now let's learn what is the behavior of light when it passes from different types of materials. The materials they have mentioned are the transparent material, the translucent material, and opaque material. So can anybody tell me what is translucent material? Yeah, so it's comparatively blurred. Can anybody explain the example? It's usually in your stationery box as well as. Glass plate, so that's the example of utensil, but usually the scales you have in your stationery, it's also translucent. And the transparent material are those from which all light can pass, and the opaque materials are those from light cannot even pass. So these are different materials. So let's look at them in detail. Some of the examples are also mentioned. That's what they have explained. You did this these types of material in your previous classes as well as, so that's not difficult for you. So as they mentioned, the transparent material allow the light, all light to pass through. So it means that they you can see through them, just because the light, all the light can pass through them. And the example for them are the clear glass. Usually they can be present in the windows if you can want to see through them. The time when certain types of plastics are also very clear. Usually plastics are opaque, but now you can see certain cups, mugs, and different other items that can be transparent as well as. So it depends upon the material. For translucent, as they have mentioned, it's a material from which the light can pass through, but some light can pass through, not all of the light. So it's not that clear. It usually look blurry, and for that usually we use the frosted glass when we want to look through, but we don't want a clear view. And some tracing paper, some rice paper are also the examples of translucent material. For opaque material are those materials that do not allow the light to pass through them, and for that obviously we can't see through them at all. So for that you can see the concrete, the ceramic, and some also most of the plastic as well as are the examples of those. So in your book you can see certain examples of translucent and opaque as well as transparent material. And you can and they have given you the example for transparent material. They have given you the example of vase, and for translucent material they have given you these glass window, and for opaque material they gave you an example of wood. So this is a glass window. Let me take another pen. It might be not that clear to you. Yeah, let's move forward with the next point. And in next question, in the think about it, they are asking you, have you ever seen the colored stickers and strips on the clear glass doors? So the purpose, what is the purpose here? So this is the purpose here to put, usually when you enter certain shops, they have these stickers with the signs. Just because those glass are transparent and they are very clear, and sometimes you might not guess that there is a glass in front of you, and you can just obviously have an injury in case you don't recognize that. For that they usually put the stickers on them. and so that you can easily identify them. Next, they have mentioned some of the objects that are transparent, translucent, and opaque. So they're asking you, what should these? So what should be the measuring cylinder made of? Can you give me an answer, please? What should be the measuring cylinder made up of? Which type? Yeah, the reason is it should be made up of glass just because we need to measure the level of liquid present in it. And in order to measure the liquid, we need to see through it. And that's the purpose behind it. For day curtains, what should be the material? Yes, it is a fabric, but I am asking you about the type of material. So it should be translucent, so that we can not on it would not block the whole light. It can pass some of the light. So our room would be bright, but not that bright that it could cause a problem. And for safe, obviously, no one wants your safe to be transparent. Just because this is here to save your valuables, and it should be made up of a material that is opaque. So this is how they can different ways in which they can ask you. These are the key points that of all the things that we have learned and we did today, and you need to highlight them and you need to learn them. That's it for today, and let's have a quick question answer session now.